So good afternoon, friends. Welcome to Sala 2022, brought to you by Art Forum and the Montalvo Art Center. The presenters at this session of The Stones Speak are a father and son duo, Rahul and Siddharth Mehrotra. Rahul Mehrotra, that's the one, has written and directed over a dozen plays for the annual fundraiser for a non-profit he was associated with. He lives in California, retired from a lifetime in the high-tech industry, trying to figure out what he is going to do when he grows up. So we've got to wait and see. Memories of time spent with old friends and total strangers fuel his writing. He's currently working on a collection of short stories. Siddharth Mehrotra, here he is a prolific writer of poetry and fiction. Through most of his undergraduate years, he was a founding member of the local Writers' Club and a frequent contributor to the town newspapers. He has written on the ethics of artificial intelligence, the origins of myths and legends, and the philosophical ramifications of both terrestrial and space exploration. He holds a master's degree in critical and comparative scriptures. He lives in California, immersed in his study of ancient texts and mythologies, the search for planets in outer space, and a lifelong practice of taekwondo. He is also currently working on a collection of poems. This session brings alive the UNESCO World Heritage Site of Champaner Pavagadh in Gujarat, India. Most of you are probably aware that such a status is given only to natural, built, and intangible heritage that upholds the very best that humanity has to offer. Therefore, UNESCO World Heritage Sites belong not just to the country that they are situated in, but to the entire world, the whole of mankind. Inspired by the photographs of Champaner Pavagadh taken by Rahul Gajjar, who happens to be my husband and a dear friend of Rahul Mehrotra. The book is here, you people can see it after the end of this session. Father-son duo have imagined stories and poems that are full of warmth and empathy, and sometimes sadness and dejection. So, let the stones speak.
Thank you for coming to listen to poems and stories inspired by the monuments and people of Champaner Pavagadh. I'm Rahul Mehrotra.
And I am Siddharth Mehrotra. Our writings are based on our personal experience and inspired by the 40-year collection of photographs taken by Rahul Gajjar.
Champaner Pavagadh is a UNESCO World Heritage Site in Gujarat, Western India. Champaner is the village at the foot of Pavagadh Hill.
Some legends say Pavagadh was formed when a toe from Sati's disintegrating body fell as a distraught Shiv stamped across the earth with his dead wife in his arms.
Others believe Pavagadh is that part of Chitrakoot mountain that fell when Hanuman was carrying it back across after Lakshman's life was saved by the Sanjeevani booty growing on it.
The sage Vishwamitri lived nearby at the source of the Vishwamitri River on Pavagadh.
Ram's sons, Love and Kush, spent the later years of their life in Pavagadh, where they embraced Jainism.
In ancient times, Jain mandirs flourished at Pavagadh.
Then came the local killas, mandirs, mahals, Rajput kings, masjids, maqbaras, Islamic sultans, and even the Portuguese traders.
But we are not here to talk about the past. Our poems encapsulate the monuments in eulogistic verse that explores their relevance today.
And our stories focus on the present-day lives of the people who call Champaner Pavagadh home. So, without any further ado, let the stones speak.
We'll start at the beginning, if only to recount how events over the aeons have forged the bond shared today by the people and their land. This poem is called Genesis. The source of all things was a single spark a tiny speck in a timeless void. Emptiness gathered and atoms took shape. From molecules, matter emerged from movement. Space curved around them, and spheres took form. Heat began in the hearts of the largest, and the first stars shone more fiery than flame. The elements divided, each from the other. The heaviest sank to the heart of the earth, and the lighter arose into layers above. Endless rain brought the oceans to be, and they scattered and swelled on the still soft stone. The world's writhing and wrinkling wrought the long mountains, spread the broad plains, and sank the deep valleys, made maxes of air in the moon's way around them, divided the waters by warmth and cold. From the ceaseless swirling of the soup primordial, life took shape and lapped up its origin. Such is the story the sages recount from the earliest era of every known thing. A mountain arose from the moving earth, looked down at the lake as the light new dawned. Bedecked with trees, aglow with herbs, rich in dark soil and bright gems gleaming. The slope on each side was the same as the other, 5 fine faces of equal height. A Himalayan peak marched down from its range, a limb of the goddess from the Lord's shoulder fallen. The dwellers in heaven proclaimed this mountain, the saints and sages sang its prayers, marked its faces and named it Pavagadh, a name like its shape, suiting its grandeur. A fitting place for the forts of kings, a splendid seat besieged but unsundered. Long years it knew of wind and rain, and the steps of giants before the coming of men. Sages sought solace on its slopes of old, then came the kings and crimsoned its crest. When out of breath, in the grip of death, I shall still find ways to sing Pavagadh's praise.
Pavagadh is home to not just people, but also other creatures. In this place, antiquity does not reside on a lonely pedestal. It is part of the everyday. This is the story of Kalia, comfortably ensconced on the cool stone parapet of a centuries-old mosque. Kalia cocked his head and raised his right ear to listen as he sat comfortably on the cool stone, framed by the intricate designs carved on the walls behind him. Some said he got his name because of the color of his fur. Others, who knew better, smiled indulgently at such outlandish conclusions, preferring to adhere to the facts. Kalia was born near the Kali Mata Mandir and spent much of his time in its environs. Kalia was clearly Mataji's favorite. Her blessings were evident in the color of the puppies born along the pathway each year. The canine peace along the pathway, from the ropeway to the mandir, was reminiscent of the reign of Jai Singh, fondly known as Pattai Rawal. No thieves broke into shops and homes at night, no leftover food got wasted, and all visitors were greeted by smiling faces, eager expectant eyes, and wagging tails. Perhaps it was that one occasion when an omelette disappeared from a customer's plate, or maybe it was just an ill wind that led Munir Bhai to bring to his stall his pride and joy, his large imported Doberman, Jackie. Not Joki, Jackie, Munir Bhai admonished the ignorant. He's a dog, not Ganji. Muscles rippled across Jackie's shoulders and legs. His cropped ears framed menacing teeth perpetually bared in an ever-present snarl. The stub of his lopped-off tail was always on alert. No smiling faces or eager expectant eyes and wagging tails ventured into the circle around a tree stump to which Jackie was tethered. One fine, warm winter morning, Kalia strolled over to the tree stump tethering a sleeping Jackie and anointed it. Infuriated and insulted, Jackie howled and strained his powerful sinews to break free from his shackles and teach the insolent Kalia a lesson. Kalia sat on the party and watched. When Jackie finally broke free, Kalia trotted off, picking his way through thickets and paths he knew so well, making sure the enraged mass of muscle chasing him did not get left too far behind. Jackie flexed his shoulders and poured his energies into his long, powerful legs. Kalia felt the ferocity slicing through the air. He looked forward as fast as he could, and then, suddenly, he veered off to his left, just as the menacing teeth began to snap at his heels. Jackie braked desperately when he saw the precipice beyond the Motni Bari. He scrabbled frantically onto a small ledge as he fell off the cliff. When Munir Bhai and his search party found him late that night, Jackie was a quivering, whimpering mass, which is how he stayed from that day on, tethered to his tree stump. With the canine peace restored along the pathway, Kalia started spending more time at his comfortable perch in the cool stone framed by the intricate designs carved on the walls behind him. He cocked his head, raised his right ear to listen once in a while to make sure all was well.
Even the cordoned-off monuments of Champaner Pavagadh play a central role in shaping life around them. Just gazing at the various jalis, one can see that sunshine through stone takes myriad shapes, as divinity through matter shapes the variety of life. The next poem is about the Sher Ki Masjid at the heart of Champaner at the foot of Pavagadh. I call it Twin Towers. Below windy hills, God's house rears twin towers, empty of images, full of devotion. Through doors unclosed like heaven's own, the whispering wind mixes with the voices of prayer. With the wind for musician, the faithful kneel, saying in silence what all the world knows. The hidden Lord in graceful silence speaks, reassures his devotees of the wonder of creation.
Here is a story of Harish Vakil and the present day jockeying for power, ostensibly for the greater glory of the divine. It is as prevalent today as it was during the golden era of Jain mandirs and even the later Muslim masjids in the later reign of Mahmud Begra. Harish Vakil sat on the mandir roof in Bhavandari and looked down at the valley below. In a few hours, the sun would set, lights would twinkle on the plains, and stars would fill the sky above. And the bus carrying those selected to sing at Mataji's mandir would reach Vadodara. Again this year, he was not selected. Last year, the generator had come on when Harish started singing, and the judges could not hear anything. This year, the loudspeaker stopped working. It only started working when it was Chandresh Trivedi's turn to sing. Chandresh Trivedi always made sure he got selected to sing with the Garba Mandi for Navratri at Mataji's Mandir in Vadodara. His special German mic and sound pedal filled the air with a deep, strong voice. No one else was allowed to touch his mic and sound pedal. Once, when his sound pedal did not work, everyone had been shocked to hear his real voice. After that day, Chandresh Bhai personally checked everything first by calling out Jai Mataji before he started singing. Chandresh Bhai's beady eyes behind the gold-framed spectacles had danced with delight as they watched Harish leave the stage. The pat on Harish's cheek from his delicate hand with its gold rings had felt more like a slap. As Harish made his way down the pathway, he heard a soft voice say, "It is okay." He turned to see Kartik Maharaj sitting by the fire in his mandir. "You don't have to go to Vadodara," Maharaj had consoled him. "Mataji's spirit is in Bhavandari, even though her murti disappeared 1,000 years ago. On the day everyone goes to Vadodara, go to Bhavandari and sing with all your heart. Mataji will hear you, even without a German mic." "Harish," Chandresh Bhai called out to him as he stood at the ST bus stand watching the mandli load their luggage on the bus to Vadodara. "Take your donkey with you and bring the saman from my house. It is very heavy." Without a word, Harish trudged back to Chandresh Trivedi's house, loaded all the saman on his donkey's back, and returned to the ST bus stand. Chandresh Bhai did not move a muscle to help him load the saman on the bus. He did not even bother to say thank you. After the bus left, Harish spent the day at Bhavandari looking down at the valley. His donkey stood by at the edge of the cliff, staring ahead, methodically chewing the makkai stalks stolen from Chandresh Bhai's house. The sun finally set. Lights twinkled on the plains below and stars filled the sky. Harish got up and stretched. He climbed down from the mandir roof. Jai Mataji, he said, taking a deep breath. Then he started singing with all his heart. His donkey continued to nibble at the grass around the chewed up wire, plug and jack for Chandresh Bhai's German mic and sound pedal.
Even seemingly ruined and deserted monuments exude an air of intimacy and immediacy. Here is the poem about the ruins of what must have once been a breathtaking mosque, where only part of one minaret stands today. I call it Solace. I saw at the foot of a windswept hill a tree stump carved of red and golden stone, ribbed and veined and curved 1,000-fold, a tower raised unto the sun's bright road, with screen doors ever shut on every floor. It seemed a mountain raised at mountainside, its soaring peak now fallen, who knows where? They reared it to the heavens long ago, touched the sky and filled the air with song, counted off the hours day by day, summoned salutations to the Lord. Now the winds sing emptily without heralds' cries. Now the stump weighs down old broken stone. But doves still fly here, bearing wayward prayers, and pilgrims still seek shelter in the shade.
These are the steps to a helical step well, a Sat Akar Kua, a marvel of medieval Indian architecture. To this day, it provides privacy and solace to people, just like our sinks and washing machines. This is the story of Naina. Wet and Wild was written in bright silver letters on the black round tube with the magical red at the top, shining through the plastic cap covering it. Some were allowed to look at it, some could touch it, very few got to hold it, even remove the plastic cap. Only Naina had got to turn the bottom and see the red part come out more. No one was allowed to touch it to their lips. Ali told me that no one else must touch the red part. The color is for my lips only. Naju had announced very proudly when she showed the lipstick her husband Ali had brought for her from Dubai. Ali was a Khalasi on a ship. Every year he returned to the village for a few months when the rains came. He wore new t-shirts, foreign jeans, and Adidas shoes. Even though he was not good looking, everyone said Naju was lucky he married her, the most beautiful girl in the whole village, now with the wet and wild red lips. Naina was happy for her friend. The two of them had played and talked and laughed together as children. They had spent a lifetime of many beautiful afternoons sharing their hopes and dreams and secrets. Her Jatin did not bring gifts when he came home every week from Gandhinagar, but he was tall and looked very good in his uniform. Every night, he was in charge of the keys for the whole big office. No one could go inside without his permission. He did not make a lot of money, but it was a big job. One day, I even stopped the accounts manager. He wanted to go inside at 10 o'clock at night. I said, "No, sir, you need permission." He was very angry and he complained, but the general manager said I was right. "Can we go to the Mela?" Naina asked as she draped her dupatta back over her head and adjusted her ghagra. "I have some work," Jatin replied. "But you have a holiday," Naina pouted. "I told you I have some work," Jatin said as he stood up. "Don't ask so many questions. Make sure my uniform is washed and clean." Naina picked up the uniform and started walking to the well. They said the well had been dug in the old days after the rains did not come for many years. She and Naju had played on its steps when they were children. There was no water now, even though the rains came each year. They said the water would only come when the tears stopped falling. She had bought a new Nirma soap. If she was careful, the red lipstick marks would come off from the uniform shirt. Naina was not going to tell anyone, never let Ali know. Naju was a good friend.
This is the Sat Kaman, a series of fragile, graceful arches that have been standing for centuries and continue to frame the world of the people around them. This poem is also called Sat Kaman. O lonely arch, with walls and buildings gone, what stories could you tell? What kings and priests, what heroes, serfs and merchants, saint and sage have through your portals marched, and to what end? With pillar, post, brick slab, and buttress lost, how do you stand? What holds you in your place? Mute witness telling tales in silent speech, yourself a very record incomplete, by halfness proving wholeness must have been. Then hail, you lonely arch, on duty still. Though men and women helter-skelter rush, still let them gaze at you, most steadfast one, and in their passing think, you ancient friend, how duty stands when life comes to an end.
No one remembers when this giant stuffed tiger appeared at Chasia Talao, but it became a permanent fixture of the party, perfectly framed by the Lakulish Mandir, Kali Mandir, and the Mazar up on top of the mountain. This is the story of Havaj, the stuffed tiger of Pavagadh. Studio portraits and function, family, passport, and marriage photos had provided Pinakin Chhatralia and his family with a comfortable life, with dowry for his daughters, Hira and Jassi. He even took photos at important official functions of the Archaeological Survey of India. His scooter was like new, and his house was in good condition. People came to him because he knew the best locations, the best times and angles to take professional studio quality photos. His photography business started waning when color prints and digital cameras came into the picture. His life changed when mobile phone cameras and selfie sticks squeezed out the demand for professional studio quality photos. Every day had become a long day. His feet hurt, his head ached. Only one or two customers came to his Champaner studio. Only one or two customers came to him after he spent the whole day at Pavagadh. Pinakin looked over his shoulder the twin towers of the Shahar Ki Masjid framed in the sky as he locked the door of his studio. The last rays of the sun lit up the evening descending on the town. Then he saw a Volvo bus weaving slowly down the street with Bajrang Travels written in large letters across its windshield. The driver is lost, Pinakin muttered to himself as he watched the approaching bus, the driver and conductor looking desperately for the road to get them back to the highway. The passengers stared helplessly as vendors began to encircle the bus like a pack of wolves, each one hoping to make a big sale at the end of the day. The bus swerved suddenly to avoid a young boy who jumped in front, waving picture postcards in the air. Brakes groaned and the air horn blared as the driver cursed and swung away from the foolhardy youth. Pinakin saw something fly off the top of the bus. He felt the rush of air past his head and heard a dull thud behind him. He turned around, startled to see a large stuffed tiger looking back at him from the footpath. The bus continued on its way, leaving behind a cloud of dust. "Havaj! Mataji's steed!" gasped Pinakin. Quickly, before anyone noticed, Pinakin unlocked his studio door and whisked Havaj in. He placed Havaj on a riso platform, locked the front door behind him, and switched on the floodlights. Then he cut away the washing instructions tag. Bajrang Bali brought Mataji's steed from the other side of the Himalaya. Pinakin marveled, staring at the Made in China label he had cut out. The next day, Hawaj reached Pavagadh. The Pari became his home with the Talao, Lakulesh Mandir, Kali Mata Mandir and Mazar behind him. Pilgrims and tourists started lining up for photos with Mataji's steed. With Mataji's blessings and a gift of Hawaj, Pinakin did not have to go looking for customers. He was busy at the best location with the best background and the best angles, taking professional studio quality photos.
At the top of Pavagadh Hill is the Kali Mandir. Beside it is a mazar which used to be on the roof of the mandir. To this day, the same path, the same steps, the same ropeway lead people of both faiths to the same place at the pinnacle, which is also the title of my next poem. Mountain top mandir like a mountain itself, on Sati's lost toe, on Himalaya's stray peak, where faiths converge in a throng of pilgrims. Half look to dawn's gates, adoringly upward, half to night's doorway, reverently downward. In broad daylight to salute the dark lady, or bow to stone doors only faith can open.
We need to stop now, but we'll be around for a while. Please come by, take a look at advanced copies of our book, The Stones Speak. We'd love to hear your thoughts and reactions. And again, thank you for coming. Thank you for listening. Let me show you some of the slides we have of the photographs. These stories are inspired by these slides by these photographs that Rahul Gajjar took over a period of 40 years. He used to go there. Most of us went there to party and drink and whatever else. He used to go there and take pictures of these rocks and ruins, and eventually became a UNESCO heritage site. So I'm going to let this run. You can take a look. Please, we have some copies of these books. These are advanced copies. They're not printed yet, but you're welcome to take a look, ask any questions, anything you want. Yeah. Let me just bring it up. And which one are you reading?
Bakalish Mandir.
So tell me where you see it. Do you see the mandir, right? This one, right? Okay. So this is the photograph. I can't bring it up on full screen, otherwise it will start off. But here is the photograph. It's going to read a poem.
Thank you. This poem is about the Lakulish Mandir, which you have heard mentioned and in some of the stories. At present, it lies is half in ruins, or it was when this photo was taken and when we also last visited it. Accordingly, this poem is called Awaiting. Golden hands draw silver veils aside and show to golden silver eyes in azure face the scattered trappings of the foursquare shrine, odds and ends of ancient legends, staves and bars of stony poems to him once known as Heaven's King, each line unbroken, ready at all points, awaiting duty's call and willing hands, at ease until they reclaim their place. Thank you.
You have another?
Yes, but what about you?
Which one? Okay.
This one.
Okay. Let me see if I can find it. Tell me if you spot it. Here. Okay.
Yes. This building was originally part of the palace and fortifications, but in later years it was modified as a granary and supply, especially in hard years when the mountain was besieged. Accordingly, I have written about that later history and named it House of Treasure. Granaries are best of all edifices, sturdiest built, longest standing, after palaces fall and walls are forgotten, on the mountain's shoulders ever watchful, guarding vast caches more precious than gold, faithful and tireless in unceasing vigil. Thank you.
I'll read you one story, if I may. This is a place that when we walked around Pavagadh, it was just there. This is not part of the UNESCO World Heritage Site. It's an underbridge, it's a tin shack under the road. This is where the local men go. This is a whorehouse, right? But it's so much a part of the city and the people. It was just amazing. It was almost a monument of its own. So this story is called Meena. Why do I have to go to school? Meena asked, looking up at the reflection of her mother, Gulab, in the mirror. So that you can make a good life for yourself, her mother replied as she combed out the ends of her daughter's neat chotis and now held together by red ribbons. But I like your life. I want to wear bindi, lipstick and bangles like you and make all the men happy. I want you to study and learn so that when you grow up, you become a teacher like Pramila Ben and make all the children in the world happy. Now go get your school bag while I get your tiffin box ready, her mother said as she stood up and hurried to the kitchen. Have you made puris for me? Meena asked hopefully. You can have puris for dinner tonight, her mother promised as they walked to the waiting rickshaw. Gulab, I have 200 rupees, the rickshawala said, holding out the money with a meaningful leer. Gulab smiled sweetly. She caressed the outstretched hand for one fleeting, electrifying moment before she took the money and casually tucked it in her blouse. I have full booking today, she said softly, looking into his mesmerized eyes. Come tomorrow after you take the children to school. Don't be late. I'll be waiting for you. The day went by in an endless stream of men looking for comfort. Gulab had barely enough time to take a bath and make puris for Meena before she heard the rickshaw horn. She ached all over. All she wanted to do was sleep, but she knew today was payday, and the line outside her house would go on late into the night. Do you know what happened in school today? Meena announced proudly as she skipped into her mother's outstretched arms. I got 100 out of 100 in my spelling test. Really? Gulab exclaimed. Her daughter's beautiful, excited voice instantly washed away the aches, pains, and desperate tiredness of the day. Yes, really. I told Pramila Ben I wanted to be like her when I grow up. I want to make all the children in this world happy. Meena went on, clutching her mother's sari. What did Pramila Ben say? She said, when I grow up, she will give me her job because I will be the best teacher in the world. Did you make puris for me? Yes, I did. Go wash your hands, change your clothes, and come to eat. Meena sat down to relate all the wonderful things that had happened at school, how she was the class monitor for the day, how she had helped Pramila Ben hand out the answer papers, how everyone admired her two chotis, how Gulab clung on to the day and her moments with Meena, pushing back the nights of endless lines. Tears started streaming down her face. Why are you crying? Meena asked, touching her face. Because you make me so happy. Yeah. I think we were.
Then it's lunch, everybody, so that's what I'm.
Yeah. Yes.
When will the book be out?
Hopefully early next year. We're working with this Heritage Society in Surat. They are they do preservation work. So let's see. Yes, this is an advanced copy. We managed to get it printed and bring it here. So the production will take a while. People are going to find mistakes and typos and things are wrong. It'll go on. It'll go on.
Maybe you'll have some more stories.
Yeah.
And Siddharth will have some more poems.
Yes, that would be nice. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, are you happy with the black and white edition of the book, or would you have preferred it to be in color?
Black and white. When you go to Pavagadh, you look at that place. If you don't think about the history of that place or anything like that, and you walk up there, it's a pretty desolate place. It's black rock, and it's almost monochromatic, except in the monsoon when it becomes green and there's fog and it just becomes beautiful. Otherwise, for 8 months of the year, it's just, yeah. Black and white photographs are better, I think. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I don't have any control over the photographs, okay? It's your husband, the photographer. And he insists that the black and whites look better, and I have to agree with him. Yes. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you. Thank you.